In the 1922 committee, I can honestly say that that's the most positive reaction we've had from Conservative MPs to a Conservative Party leader. The only time comparable was of Boris Johnson straight after a 29 election result. But I've just heard what he had to say at Central Office as well. So it was a positive, passionate, compelling speech, and I think he's the leadership the country needs right now.
There are question marks as to whether or not we have to have a general election. It does appear that the Conservative Party has decided to stick to the line that they won a mandate at the last general election. That mandate lasted 5 years, and it doesn't matter whether or not anyone, including party members, has voted for this guy. Do you not think there needs to be some kind of democracy here in a general election?
No, I mean, we live in a parliamentary democracy, a parliamentary system. The Conservative Party commands a significant majority in Parliament, so there is no requirement for a general election. I think Rishi Sunak did mention the 2019 manifesto in his speech and how he'd largely be sticking to that. I also think that the last thing we need right now, with all the economic turbulence, is a general election. And I take the point about internal party democracy. That is an important point, but I also think there are real advantages to the fact that we today have a unified parliamentary party. And we've done it quickly within a matter of days.
Look, I get that 100%, and there is truth to what you've said there. But for me, it does appear like the Conservative Party is trying to have it both ways, because people were saying, well, they voted for Boris Johnson, not the Conservative Party initially. Boris won the Red Wall. It was Boris. It was his personality. It was his charisma. But now it wasn't Boris. It was the Conservative Party. So which one was it?
Well, I actually think in terms of dissecting the 2019 result and figuring out why we got such a substantial majority, I think there are many factors. I think clearly Boris's personality was part of that, but it wasn't the only factor. People wanted to see Brexit done. People were scared of Jeremy Corbyn, quite rightly. So I don't think it was simply Boris Johnson. Though I do admit that he's a compelling political personality, he has many strengths. However, at this particular moment, I thought Rishi Sunak was a more appropriate option for the country, particularly because of the fact he's been vindicated on the economy so quickly after the last contest.
Well, the economy is a massive issue. 100% it's a massive issue. But other massive issues include things like what we're going to do with the Channel, what we're going to do with immigration as a whole, how we're going to react when it comes to things like Ukraine. Do you think Rishi Sunak's got it in him to do that? I'm just referring to a couple of the comments that he's made. He said that he will do whatever it takes to get flights taking off to Rwanda. He said that he will hold the French's feet to the fire. A lot of Tory voters, a lot of members of the public, a lot of people watching GB News will be sitting here now going, we've heard it all before, Tom. The Tories are finished. They cannot deal with immigration.
Well, I think that I've been one of the most vocal MPs in Parliament on the matter of illegal immigration. I did speak to Rishi Sunak about the matter on Friday. I had a conversation with him on the phone and we touched upon small boats. And Rishi committed to me that he would do everything it took to get the issue solved. He realises how important it is to do that and how it's a political imperative that we do that. Look at Ipswich. You just got 200 illegal immigrants going to go up in a hotel in the middle of town. It's something the vast majority of my constituents find completely unacceptable. So I agree with you, Patrick, that in addition to the economy and public services, immigration is a vital issue. We voted to take back control of our borders, and what we're seeing at the moment is totally unacceptable. But Rishi Sunak, he is a proper Conservative. I think some people have got this perception that he isn't. He is. Trust me. Otherwise I wouldn't have backed him. You look at who's backed Rishi Sunak. He's got a breadth of support from across the parliamentary party, and that includes the right. So I think he was a pro-Brexit. He's a pro-Brexit Prime Minister after all, something that some people seem to forget.
And also, as well, it's a really, really... Personally, can I just say, because I've been getting a few emails about this, because I have referenced a couple of times the fact that Rishi Sunak is not white, right? Which actually just is significant. I mean, goodness gracious me, look what they did with Barack Obama in America there. I mean, they absolutely hinged their political coverage on it for months. I'm not exactly doing that. But it is a significant thing. It's a great thing for this country. And frankly, as well, it puts Labour back in their box, doesn't it? Because the Tories have had 3 women and 1 ethnic minority. I mean, if we're playing identity politics bingo, you've won. You're a transgender person away from a full house.
But the thing is, in the Conservative Party, this sort of stuff just happens naturally. We have a philosophy of meritocracy. The best people, the best rise to the top. Just so happens the current person who's leader of our party, is a British Asian, and the last one was a woman. We don't care about the colour of people's skin. We don't care about their religion or their gender. We want the best people, whoever they are. And as it happens, Rishi Sunak is the first non-white Prime Minister. But yes, it is a significant moment. I agree with you. But yeah, it is slightly amusing that so often the left and the Labour Party try and make it seem like the Conservative Party aren't all that strong on this issue. Well, we are. We just get on and do it. We don't just virtue signal about identity politics. We actually deliver the most diverse cabinet in history, but we do it naturally. We don't make a big thing about it.
Do you think Keir Starmer's going to be flapping a bit now? It was all well and good while he had Truss in charge and the economy was tanking a bit and, the knives were out. But now he's got a united Conservative Party, it would seem anyway, given what you've just told me about the 1922 Backbench Committee. A chap who's clearly very, very intelligent as well, and someone with maybe, dare I say, a little bit of momentum behind him now. It'll be interesting to see if Keir Starmer can do anything with this.
Well, it's obviously been a really difficult time for the Conservative Party over the last couple of months. But at the end of the day, Keir Starmer hasn't changed. The Labour Party haven't changed. They haven't suddenly become good. They're not. The thing is, they've had hardly any scrutiny because the Conservative Party's been focusing on itself. But today, I can tell you honestly, this is the most united I've seen the Conservative Parliamentary Party. Rishi Choice was the choice of the vast majority of Conservative MPs. I think at PMQs on Wednesday, you're going to see a Conservative Party on the front foot. And the closer we get to that election, the more questions will be asked about the Labour Party. What is their position on the small boats issue? What are they going to do? Because we've seen over the last few weeks what happens when you have unfunded commitments when it comes to either spending or tax cuts. In Rishi, we've got a Prime Minister who believes in sound money, and we've got to ask those questions of the Labour Party.
All right, Tom, there's a question that I'm going to ask every single Conservative MP that I have on until Rishi Sunak announces his cabinet. What cabinet position do you want?
Look, I think it's I think it's unlikely that I'm going to be elevated to the cabinet, Patrick. I'm very keen just to focus on my constituents and be supportive of Rishi Sunak on shows such as GB News and others, and I will continue to do so.
Hey, I tell you what, you should go into politics. Tom Hunt there, very good stuff.